Yeah, they're working if you turn them on. Oh, there it is. Okay. Ready to start, everyone? Hi, I'm Joe Sicari. I am the itinerant moderator for this one, but they'll be doing most of the talking. But this is what to do after you retire. Well, I have two bits of advice. The first one is come to work helping us save family history stuff, which obsesses me, and that makes me obsess my friends. However, the other thing is discover what, or you should already know, whatever is your obsession and indulge in it. Because pretty soon, no matter how much time you've given up from work, you will fill. You will never have enough time to do what obsesses you. Now, I am going to pass the mic around, ask each of our contestants here to please tell me and all of us what you're retiring from and what obsesses you. And then we'll go back to how you can use those obsessions to fill your retirement time.
I will start. I retired last year from self-employment as a pet sitter. And I was a great boss. I worked for a long time in the travel industry before that and loved it, but never felt appreciated. So I appreciated myself as my boss. And I found it very difficult to not sort of get excited about the fact that I was retiring. So I told absolutely everyone in family on the street and the grocery store, I'm retiring, I'm retiring. And it wasn't very exciting for me. And then I was retired. And I discovered what my true passion is. K-dramas. Korean TV dramas. I'm absolutely obsessed with them. I binge watched for the first time in my life. And I also like K-pop. That's harder to keep. And so how I'm going to work this into a family interest, I just not yet. But that's where I'm close to it.
Okay, I retired from 20 years of software development. Just getting tired of difficult to achieve deadlines. So I have work and I can go out and find my obsession. Turns out I don't have an obsession that I know of right now. And I like lots of things and spend a bit of time learning some Spanish. I spend a little bit of time learning very badly how to play piano. A little bit of time doing this and that, but not getting really not totally obsessed about anything other than a lot about Japanese muscle. How many lines have any by knowing Europe?
Let us try the other direction.
Okay. Hello. My name's Mark Plummer. And I feel slightly odd being on a retirement panel because looking around the room, I was very conscious that I was part of the youth wing of course. And was, I worked in the UK civil service for 41 years. I think probably quite unusual these days. Essentially, I've worked in the same place. So my career started in 93. And technically, in fact, today is my first day of retirement. And my last day on the one was 29th of February. So what did happen? That was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yes, that's when I came off payroll. Spike all the beer to commemorate. Oh, actually, I just remembered something I was going to mention that because we were expressing surprise at the same Rich about you and the banjo. We didn't know about this. But we were in a bar in Patty Ravens the other night. One of the slogans on the wall was "A gentleman knows how to play the banjo, but doesn't." So yeah, so technically, today's my first day retirement. Effectively, I've been retired for a couple of months. So I had a whole bunch of stacked up leave. There was something that happened in 2020. I can't quite remember what it was now. Something Douglas Wedding right, so I had no leave left over. And yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Joe, about the truism about how things expand to fill the available time. I mean, I proved that to my own satisfaction by the 4th of January. So I'm still not quite sure what I'm going to be doing that's new to fill my time. Claire, however, has a list. Actually, probably several lists. So I'm sure I'll be working through that. But I suppose the thing that fascinated me and has fascinated me for the last 35 years and still does is fandom. So I suspect I'm going to be filling my time doing more fanish things. I'm just not quite sure what they are. But maybe, okay, but well, maybe you come on to that. Anyway, how do you think?
Oh, shit. Well, right, now we come to the sweary part. I am Nick Borry and I'm just about 2 weeks into retirement, having spent most of my life engaged in absolutely nothing that could be described as resemble a career. I've had a series of jobs. The last one was driving a taxi in Las Vegas, which I've been doing for the last 9 years. And I've got to say, I did it absolutely very well. I was the best fucking taxi driver this entire town has ever seen. So, yeah, I'll pack up with that after 9 years of doing that. That was 7.5, 8 years of doing 60-hour weeks. And the last year doing a much more reasonable, only 48-hour week. I'm doing that. So yeah, I'll pack that up. But, you know, of course, the last couple of weeks, really, in terms of retirement, have not actually been 2 or 3 weeks of leisure for reasons I think you are all aware of. And there was no leisure involved for reasons that almost every single fucking one of you has contributed to. Yeah, like, just sit down and shut up. So yeah, we got that. But yeah, plans after retirement. Well, you know, being nagged by the missus because you do all that kind of stuff. The worst bit of retirement is that my tobacco consumption has probably gone up to a peak of approaching 4 packs a day. No, really. And everybody's saying, no, you're going to do that, you're going to die. Well, but yeah, I got to have a look at that. The time adjustment of, yes, I really don't have to get up at 1 AM every day now, but I can't help it. But I tell you what, I've got all my productive panic, what considers it's up, gets done in those early hours of the morning. So there you go. Post-retirement plans, ask me in a week, but get shit done.
Well, with all of that, we need to find an obsession for Rich. Although it sounds like you have an obsession with going from one thing to another, that can be equally obsessive because you can have serial obsessions. I know I do, and actually simultaneous ones too, but let's not talk about that. And I wasn't joking. I said you guys should come help us preserve fandom. But what I really think is if you're doing one of the things that you love the most, find out another obsession because that actually is the way of keeping yourself from going crazy. At least it was what kept me from going crazy. More and more obsessions. My wife will attest that I go from one thing to another. So maybe I'm more like Rich than I realize. But we all have different things that we're doing. What are we doing with our friends? It's the key one that I find. One right here, we're doing with friends. So obviously, fandom is a bit of an obsession for all of us because, well, looking around this group, we've all been doing it for a long time. What is it in fandom that you want to do? And let's just see who can talk a little bit about it. What is it that you want to do at Vanish Wise? And then we can talk about all kinds of
I think we should just encourage Rich to continue to play the banjo. Because it's just like one of those things that, you know, you sat down, seriously thought this through, like, how can I make myself even more unpopular than I already am?
Like bagpipes. And the banjo simultaneously.
Didn't write down, you got a bit of accordion in there. Yeah.
Well, the first Spanish thing I can on the 23, which is a very, very nice fantasy with an excellent cover that has beautiful italics names for Kev Williams. I love those italics. But yeah, John's not here, unfortunately. Maybe he's online. There's a lot of things I'd like to do fantasy, but when I'll get around to doing them is all other things. I thought maybe I should try and restart Central Wonders. It's a lot of fun to do. I know that there are weird aspects of science fiction in the past that have almost been forgotten, but not entirely forgotten, that can be highlighted. And that was kind of, I enjoyed doing it and trying to make it, read like a fantasy, but be about serious and constructive stuff. So I guess the next thing I need to do is who the hell can I get to write? Who the hell can I get to do beautiful illustrations? I'd love to get Bruce Townley to write about the various artists again, but I think Bruce is totally captivating. So I don't know. But like I said, writing letters of caution, first and foremost. I've been terrible about it all my Spanish career. I'm going to try and get better. But what will happen, we'll see.
you were talking about something that you were obsessing on, you realize that there are an awful lot of zines out there on K-pop and K-drama. You could just include that if it's.
Well, Joe, the reason I won't be doing that is because I am old. K-pop fans are by and large under 25. There's a lot of us in our 60s, but not very many. I went to 4 K-pop concerts last year. I was by far the oldest person there. John went to one of them with me, and he's not only one of the oldest people there, he's one of the only men there. But that's okay. I don't plan to do K-pop fanzines or K-drama fanzines. I do, however, have one lone fanish obligation over my head since 1987. My Duff report. I have photos, like I didn't write notes on my trip. I tape recorded them. So I have to get down to business with transcribing almost 40-year-old tapes, and I have tape player readers. It can be done. It's not so hard. It's hard to make. Yeah, no, I played them. They're horrifying. Talking to myself on tape is so bad. But anyway, so that's really what I want to do. I don't have a time. I need to do it before I shuffle off the whole flow.
Ask Chief Gabal to write it for you.
Yeah, it has become a bit of an activity for getting a group of people to put together a trip report. It's been done for TAB. I think, Mark, we part of that group. Yes.
I wasn't, but I was there and it hasn't there. Yes, the idea was that the toads had been somewhat dragged to speed up these attack reports, and the idea was to put him in a room and torch him with electricity to extract the random from it, so write them down. So I understand.
I was there and it worked.
Okay, so what finish obsession that you need to get out of the way before you go on to finding other things? So,
I think for me, the first thing that struck me as something that I would like to do and could do, which I think I would like to hope you choose with someone, is Fancyclopedia. Because there's
we like that.
there's an awful lot of information there. I use it extensively myself. But there's obviously an awful lot, a vast amount more could be there. And I also, occasionally, no criticism intended, people being wrong before. Some bits wrong. I remember the day where I said to Claire, "Oh, I just discovered I'm married." And she was a bit surprised. I'm not sure. I think it may have been while I couldn't marry it. And then had to get too young to go and separate us. Yeah, so I started doing a bit of that at the beginning of the year. And because, well, I mean, those of us who are here for Lee's talk, we already encountered Lee was there. In fact, it's quite possible by now Lee's forgotten the talk when he gave. And with so much of the older stuff where we've actually missed the boat, people aren't even there to ask it. So I'm actually trying to extract some of this old material from the fanzines to turn it into some kind of useful narrative in Fancyclopedia. Something like I find it quite enjoyable myself. I quite like thinking about certain projects. So even if nobody else actually cares, but James Parkin that about what it entertains me for a few hours trying to work out just what was his name.
The call.
Indeed, yes. First Scottish bands. Yes, but what's his name? James P. Rathbone, James Parker Python Rathbone. He seemed uncertain. Yeah, I quite enjoy talking about doing stuff like that. And there is almost infinite capacity to do things. So, I imagine that keep busy for a while.
Yeah. What was your question?
What is a finished thing that you need to get out of the way so that you can get on with some other?
Well, so I will be speaking for the entire rest of this panel on those topics. Well, one of the really jolly things was like in, I think one of the Zooms that we were both on, no less a luminary than Pete Phineas Hooper had commented, well, you've been doing a monthly fanzine for the last few years. What the fuck are you going to get up to when you're retired? Right. Oh, I have plans. Trust me, I have plans. Be very afraid. And actually, one of those plans involves this year that next to me. That's and like some of them are, you know, kind of anthology stuff. That you know we've just been quietly remarking for a few years of doing the kerosene. For those of you who are not familiar with giving kerosene, be grateful. So we were going to do a kerosene compilation. I wanted to do a anthology of Dave Hodgson's footy columns and, you know, various bits and pieces like that. But most of it is really just kind of carrying on doing what I'm doing. In a Spanish context, I don't know, I just want to carry on being Spanish. Really, as kind of best I can and pissing as many people off as possible. Getting to know more people a little bit better, trying to expand the community through the fanzines that I'm doing, making more jokes about Liam and falling asleep during everything. And yeah, you know, that's until you kind of get tired of it. I don't know. There's some of the jokes are getting a bit old and tired, but so real. I don't know. I'm open to be honest, I'm open to suggesting, no, you should be doing this. Yeah, I'll look at that.
Well, as you go on, there is always something else you want to do. But I find that I keep going back to several different things. When we were talking a little bit about the banjo, even musicians seem to find that the banjo is often for jokes. Katie has been a lot into the folk music scene in the last few years. Unfairly long. Well, even the banjo players talk about the good ones. Talk about they should be, you know, they'd be much more popular if they threw it over their shoulders instead of trying to keep it in front. But let's get off of old jokes about banjos. There are just so many people that you want, that I wanted to meet. See, a lot of them were fans, and over the years I've had a chance to do that. But are there particular, you know, places or people that you've always felt an interest in going to eat or to see? That has been something that occupied me for the last 15 or 20 years. Particularly traveling, but also getting to meet the people in those areas. Anybody want to talk about?
I can talk about the big project that's going on about black banjo players at the moment. The black tradition of banjo playing, which is really come to the fore of the moment. Oh, excuse me, it's Yeah, I know, it's a nicotine delivery system, and makes me thinking up a lot. But, in particularly the forefront of that, at the moment, someone might suggest you check out all the stuff that, Ryan Giddens is doing with, promoting the work of the historical banjo players. You know, Ryan Giddens was, founding member of, the Caroline Chocolate Drops. Yes, thank you, Chief.
And your buddy, Don Clemens.
Yeah, and Don Clements also another founding member of, that band. And, all those people are doing so much great work on that, and they very much want, something to research, look into. There is absolutely great stuff. Don Clements doing a lot of stuff with the history of Black Cowboys and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just having, I had that Don Clements in the back of my camera.
We heard.
No, I really did, and we had a lovely conversation. He was actually funny. He local to me, and then I took him to the airport. And that was funny. So we had a good old chat. Let me stop picking up here and Mark can say something.
I'm afraid my knowledge of banjo law is somewhat limited, and as I seem to recall that the question didn't involve the word. But I think that one of the things that actually occurred to me about your also is I live in London for 40 years, and it's quite a big place. And in fact, we've gone to a friend's funeral in part one. I've never been to it. I've heard of this. I've seen buses that go there. I've never been to the place before. So one thing that occurred to me is that it's just traveling around several parts of London. If nothing else gets me out of the house, I think this is one of Claire's main objectives for me, is to get me out of the house. So yeah, I can travel around London, seeking out monuments to obscure London bands. I'm sure there must be some that will keep it going for a while. Tom, are you going to tell me what monuments for London banjo?
I was just wondering,
Well, yeah, I'll do that. I think they're kind of expecting. That's that. As far as travel is concerned, it feels very local. But there are so many places that I've been to, and could really find out qualified for my over 60s oyster cover, so I can travel. So we'll be.
Burn sounds great. Lucy, or-
Well, I would second, Mark, I've been saying just recently that I need to take a lot of vacations, in many places that I didn't see when I lived there. There were two gardens, Hampton Court, places like that. But there's just too many places that I'd like to see. Then, getting ready to go to Scotland, I was trying to figure out, places that I'd really like to go to. And I would have ended up being there for 3 months. I wanted to see all of them, even, moving around fairly quickly. So limited to Edinburgh, Glasgow, Islay, Orkney, Aberdeen, Dundee, back to Edinburgh. I think I can do that in 3 weeks. Which, this is the unfortunate thing, is that if you're retired, you can't stay away from home forever. We have pets, need to be able to things like that. Persons that I'd like to meet, there's one, Lee Edmonds, who was, I thought did a brilliant job on the Zoom about, was it a Wallaby Tracks over Australia or something? Part one, I saw, I missed part two, but I enjoyed it very much. Look forward to meeting you sometime.
I shall take your picture.
Check picture everybody down to the stage.
40
years, we'll try to identify the people.
Doesn't have to be Spanish people. There's somebody really would love to meet that you think you can by traveling to something. I found that we met lots of Spanish people while we were traveling, but sometimes the most interesting people are ones that you don't really expect to meet. I had the most interesting conversation on a bed and breakfast in Scotland where I wasn't really sure the conversation was going, or what it was about, because the person I was talking with did have probably the strongest accent, and I was getting about half of it, but it was telling me a great story, I know. But it was one of the most memorable conversations I've ever had. Oh, no, don't ask me, because it was incoherent.
Okay. Well, I've spent most of my adult life traveling. I would take a job, a terrible job. I'd save enough money for British Airways ticket to London. I would quit my terrible job. I'd go and stay in London as long as I could, travel around the UK, and then find another terrible job. These are mostly clerical jobs, temporary, nobody expected anything from me, but for me to show up. And I did that for several years. Finally, John Bartelt, my husband, said, "You should be a travel agent." I was like, "That's a great idea. They'll pay for my travel." And so I was, and they did. And I traveled an awful lot of places I never expected to get to. And what I found is no matter where you go, you will find Australians and Swedes. They're just everywhere. We went to Santiago, Chile recently. And went to, admittedly, it was called Peak. But we went to a coffee shop, and for fun, I asked in Swedish if they spoke Swedish. They didn't, they spoke Spanish on the couch. But there was a Swedish couple right there, and we had a conversation. So I like to travel because I really like to see new places. And I find it's very good for me. I often have traveled for conventions, of course. And it's lovely to go someplace and meet fans you've read, in fanzines and all that. That's the basis of all my friends today, or most of them. Who would I want to go see? I don't know. I'm a bit shy about introducing myself to people who don't know me. So I'd rather have those peculiar conversations that are so delightful when you're trying your best to follow what the other person is saying. And you have to answer. It's fun. I mostly think about how many times can I go in the and the number is shrinking. I mean, retirement, we started traveling long before. I know it's sort of traditional to retire and do all your travel, but I mean, we're all fans. We all head off onto a plane whenever we can. I'm not going to Glasgow, sorry. It's fun, but it's a little too much after the trip to South America, and I'm finding that's happening. So now I have lists of where I'm willing to go. Conventions I really want to get to, and I want to go to a Eurocon. So next year we're going to.
Well, all of you have certain things you want to do. Is there anything that you think could never happen that you would like to happen? I had so much go on at times that I wasn't sure what was going to be the next thing to do. But I managed, in one case in traveling, I hooked onto one of Edie's business trips and managed to get to watch her fall off an elephant into a river in Malaysia. And that was, well, she had her arm all in a sling, but it was a memorable thing. And, you know, every once in a while you have to go off and do something you really don't expect. I find that is, it's hard to imagine, but I'm gonna ask you guys to imagine something that you would really, really like to do, but think that you couldn't do without somebody giving you some instigation. Is there anything that, anything you would, anything like that? Otherwise, we'll go on to something else. Rich?
You know that bridge in Northern Ireland is unbroken? Walk across that. That's something I would never, ever, ever do. I'd like to say I didn't. But I know I won't. Here.
Oh. Okay. Anybody else?
Well, I think everybody's actually got a bucket list, and most people just tend to ignore it because it's completely unfeasible, whatever you want to do. Because it really depends on having unlimited money to do the stuff that you want to do. One of the things on my hypothetical bucket list was to visit all the great test cricket grounds around the world. And yes, Lee, if I do ever win the fucking lottery or anything like that, I am going with you to the Boxing Day test at MCG.
Day 3 at the G.
Huh?
Day 3 at the G, you're on.
All right, mate. I mean, if it ever occurs, it ever occurs. I mean, that was the thing. And, you know, one of the other things on my bucket list was of what being, you know, sadly a train geek, as well as everything else, was, you know, there is a list of the great train journeys of the world. The only one I might ever be likely to do is the Trans-Canada. You know, that's vaguely feasible. But yeah, just stuff like that. But it's just great stuff. Yeah. Never gonna happen.
I'd like to be taught to play the banjo. Real gold.
I'm going to begin practicing as soon as I get home on Sunday.
Do we need to rename this fucking thing?
Yeah.
I'm just asking. You know, just in case there's any more like promotion material that we can't make.
I'm going to, ask the audience to, participate in this. We should, figure out what you would like these people to do. Okay, we did have a question from the panelists to the audience. How many of you are retired? Would you raise your hand? Whoa. Yeah, how many are not retired? Oh, boy. We have a. Okay, so. And some of you are probably getting close to retirement. However, we have, what do you think? Dan?
I just wanted to say, yes, I'm retired. But, if anybody's interested, I have the original article in the new chapter of my 10-year company. On the up at the consulting or something,
Definitely. I mean,
That's been on your bill, and it's that's right there. So,
um,
you know, I retired, I'm good.
okay, Katie, Mr. Harris.
Other than financial, did you do any planning? Anything? Tell us.
Did you, before you retired,
I thought about wanting to go up to, Astoria, Oregon, the day after I retired. But then I retired 3 months earlier than this, 3 months.
Okay, so let me add to the question. The reason I'm asking is I used to work for IBM. Traditionally, in IBM, if you retired, you was getting in 6 months. So because all the big IBM people ever did is work hard. And they, once they retired, they had nothing else. And so that's why I'm asking if you had thoughts and plans before you.
Yeah, that was never my problem.
Yes.
I mean, I worked 100%. That was. I did think about what would be a good way to get me out of the house, because I was aware that I might just hang out. And that's kind of happened. But also I instituted a program of joining a museum. And so now I have a museum I can go visit, it's already paid for, and since I'm out there, why don't I go see something in the area? So once a month I try to go to a museum I haven't been to before, and I just fulfilled March today by going to the Area 15 Omega Mart. But I still should go to one of the San Francisco museums. I've all along done things like taken language programs, studied this and that. I'm not very concerned because of my normal resting state is an inert gas. I'm pretty happy not doing too much. So I'm hoping that I thought about, well, what we do when you're not taking care of the cats, dogs, and getting an exercise. So I've instituted the very special Lucy enhancing walk. And if I go on a walk, I put a star sticker on my calendar. And just like in grade school, I've been walking.
Would you like to say just a student? Sure. Very good. All students.
I have no gold star stickers.
There's also the thing that, I'm for, an enormous backlog of books and magazines that I purchased, plan to read someday. And I've actually read 16 so far this year, which is far more than I usually have in previous years. But a lot of them have been fairly easy. So I've got a couple of Thomas and Johns. So slow down.
Well, I started work for the civil service a week before my 2nd birthday, 24th of January 1993. I remember sort of thinking that then that civil service pensions were at the time predicated on such retire at 60. So I remember sort of thinking, so right, that means I'll be here until about the end of January 2024. So yeah, I had a sort of 40-year plan in that respect. But that's the limit. Thinking I did about it, rather than that actually, gosh, it's becoming quite interesting. The thing I found that really changed was when it stopped being done, I could express it in terms of being, so that's going to be January. That's something I would see really quite important. But I didn't alarm like planning. not even this sort of worked out what sort of most of the people, you know, I have a pension scheme. That would probably not work out. Claire is wrong because I was taking that.
Oh, right, well, all right. If the question was, you know, what kind of financial planning or whatever you did for retirement, in my case, that was absolutely fuck all. Because, you know, not having had a career, I might have had aspirations to a career at some point. but like, I have had a series of jobs. One of those jobs where I worked before I left the UK, I worked for Shell UK for almost 13 years. And actually contributed to a pension scheme in there, so I got money off of them. I'm getting my DWP pension, thanks Mark, because I think he's in the box, but I'm sure I can get it, because that's really good people. So I've got my DWP UK state pension, and I've got my social security here, which they dick me out of a bunch of it, but there you go. So, you know, actually, that's it. You know, I'm getting the money coming in that I've got coming in. It's not quite enough to live on. But, you know, there you go. So, so basically my retirement plan, you know, at this point is please buy my wife's books. We might make 10 bob. Well,
Just like now, first of all, I wanted to just slightly correct this terrible financial enthusiast Mark object. I should probably also correct this version that Mark worked for the Department of Work Pensions, because it's almost that bad.
Is this working? Oh, it is.
Oh.
Yeah. So Mark's not quite as carefree about money as he implied. Nick's just misdepartmented Mark. And the question I actually wanted to ask you all, it doesn't sound like it from what you said, that you would have defined yourself by what you did for a living or that you were working. But have you already, or do you think you'll struggle to describe yourself to other people when they say, oh, who are you? What do you do now that you're retired?
Okay, we'll start.
I don't even know I didn't even understand the question. Yeah, you wrote that. I'm sorry. I honestly didn't think it was 2000.
Yeah, then again, you didn't know that trousers. So, yeah, it is. I found, well, as Claire will actually know, I find, I still kept talking about my department, my job, my team, even though I effectively left them. I'm getting better at it. Referring to my former department. I personally don't think I have any problem with describing it. If someone says, oh, what can you do? We say, I'm retired, or I'm a retired civil servant. Of course, I should also remember Murray Law's formulation. Someone says, so what do you do? Which the answer is, whatever I like. So no, I personally, I don't think so, but possibly it's a bit too soon to say.
I just, like reading, playing the banjo.
I mean, so few people have asked me, because now that I'm not working, I don't see anyone.
Okay, you're retired. Anything, what is it that has surprised you from, this was a question instigated by Lucy. It is actually a very good question. What is it that has surprised you about being retired so far? I know some of you have been retired a while, some haven't been retired much, very long. Mark?
I think the thing that surprised me was I had been told by so many people, you will never understand how you never had time. People have always said this. I think the thing that surprised me was how quickly that proved to be true. That it was pretty much instantaneous in my case. And I really thought there would be some sort of sense of transition. That caught me by surprise.
Well, yeah, only having been retired by barely 2 weeks, I really haven't had time to be surprised by anything. I mean, the plan was to pack up work like about more or less a week after my 66th birthday. Yeah, I mean, you know, I had this fucking shower to sort out. So I did, like, there really hasn't been any kind of transition or anything, and no time to be surprised by anything. So I remain to be surprised, I suppose. So I mean, we'll see what happens after this lot settles down. So yeah, I really don't know. I have no answer.
I'm rather surprised that I still wake up every morning before 4 o'clock and go swimming in the morning. Outside sometimes, and just generally kind of act like I was getting ready for work, just then I don't get ready for work, do anything, and like I could go out and eat. That was just not even fun. I could go out and malt, and sometime I could read book. That might be okay. I could play with a dog. That's fun. Then the only other thing that I could say might surprise me, probably they'll sink in more after more time. But I've worked with this particular group of people for 18 years, pretty much. And now, like Lucy says, I'm not seeing it like I do when I go to the Y, see these other people regularly. But yeah, it's different. There's this group of 8 or 9 people that I've worked with closely for a long time. I'll see them now, although we did all go out and have finally the younger. We are Russian River Brewing Company comes out with every year when people extend in line for 11 hours to get the pint. Don't have to stand in line for an hour. Sit in line. One of the big part for me, I don't know whether you call this a surprise or not, but it's really taken some time. It's a process to try and shift my work sleep wake schedule, which is absolutely horrible for anybody who was on what you might call a normal diurnal schedule. It's like, yes, now I do not have to set the alarm to wake up at 1 a.m., but I still do. So, you're kind of doing that. It's kind of been all over the place. Some days it's like, oh yeah, I'll stay up a lot later than what was my work scheduled bedtime of 5 p.m. And you try and do that and sleep later, but it's like your body's telling you, you're supposed to get out. Come on. What's doing this? And it's just like, I know it's going to be a process. I'll get back to it. I don't even know when I will get back to what most people would consider a normal sleep wake schedule. No, but thanks, Doc. but yeah, it's just been weird. And a lot of it's been all over the place. I'll, now, oh yeah, I can take a nap at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'll grab some tea and toast. And it's, I don't know, surprising. No, it's just peculiar. I'm still trying to work through that. I don't know how it's going to turn out.
Well, we've been told to wind this up, so I'll answer as quickly as possible. The thing that surprises me most about retirement, I've been retired for a few months longer, is how often I feel guilty saying I'm retired. Anyone younger than me, because retirement is very often not on their horizon. And it makes me feel like I'm the last relic of the generation that just assumed that we retire. And I don't really have anything to cheer them up about because they're out of luck. It's gonna be different. And I feel so fortunate that I had this opportunity. So that is really what surprised me the most. The rest of it getting adjusted and follow the process. But being retired is pretty great. I'm glad we're not here.
Yes, we should all enjoy that, both those in the audience and those of us up here. So, thank you all for your comments and information.